Hello. Okay, we're getting ready to start turn 10. And I think there's only 2 units that have not landed on the beach. This one being the first one. And this guy being the second. And I'm going to land him here. So that way we don't have any concentrated unit issues. And that's it. So now we do the event. And what turn are we? We're turn 10. Sorry, I was just reading it. I should show it to you. It says no ship-to-shore communication. All LVTs unavailable next turn. I don't think that matters. We have nothing happening next turn. So this was relatively uneventful for us. And then we are doing their action. And we got a double blue, which I'm pretty sure is going to affect nothing. There's no double blues out there that are active, and it's not like they have a special action here. But the greens are reinforcing, and that's a problem. Or maybe it's not. We actually did a good job of covering up the greens. So here we covered up the 2 greens. Here we covered up the 2 greens. This green is more than 2 spaces away from us, as well as this one. So we successfully pulled off a coup, and their green reinforced does nothing. And I don't even think there's a green that fires either. And now the one thing that we were worried about is finally happening, and that's the brown. The brown M is happening. So why was I concerned about brown again? I see no brown. Oh, because of the tank. And then the M, I think, is going to be a mortar. So one simply does not go into mortar. I know I used that before, but I still like it. Okay, so this one is a coastal unit, but it's not within 2 spaces. So here you have one that's occupied, but no U.S. units are in the field of fire. That's an important one. And since it's M, it hits U.S. units with indicated target symbol within 4 hexes, otherwise no action. So the target symbol is a diamond, which is a problem. Because you can see here, 1, 2, 3, diamond, hit. So it actually hit that infantry unit. And that was unfortunate. And then we have a tank with an M. It fires if the U.S. units are filled in fire. Then if U.S. units remain in field of fire, it fires again, which would be brutal, except it's not hitting anybody. This brown you see here is not that one. It's this guy here. And if it's unoccupied, see, there's no action. Oh, hold on. It's an inland position. It places a reserve unit in the position. It musters on an M. And see this brown here? It's going to muster. So a reserve unit is coming in like a bunk, like a boss. It just came in and bam! It took a spot that we had just cleared last turn. So looking over here, these brown actually fires here, and it is a diamond again. So just like that, we took another hit. That was unfortunate too. So yeah, brown was the one we were worried about, and they did not disappoint. The funny thing is the tank didn't do anything, and that was the one I was probably the most worried about, and it ended up being nothing. Okay, so that's Japanese, and now it's us. So just a reminder, after the Japanese phase, we're going to have a second event phase, and then there's going to be a U.S. Engineer and HQ phase coming up on turn 11. So we're on our last turn where we skipped those, and we are now on the U.S. action phase. So we still only get 3 actions. I think one of them, assuming I have the spare actions, is going to be to move this guy over to here. We'll see. I may not do it because we got this problem and this problem And our HQ unit is here. So only these guys are going to get to go. But that means these are all free actions. I can use artillery to hit coastal pieces. So that is possible. I can hit something coastal. That's an interesting problem. So like I could hit this here, which is coastal, and try to disrupt it with my artillery. Why would I not try that? And then I could have actually spared myself from getting hit. So yeah, let's do that. Since my art... You know what? I don't want to do close combat, so... I'm going to do an attack with him, and then the HQ unit underneath against him. So this artillery will barrage that other one. And I just need to get a brown, which I did not. The artillery did match the symbol, but it has a depth marker, and the symbol's not good enough, I don't think. No, it's not. So I needed the color, brown. Didn't get it. And what's under that? That's a tank, which can also attack or barrage something. I can't barrage inland, so I can't get these gold guys here. But 1, 2, 3, I could barrage this one, and I will. I need a brown, and I got a brown that time. So I'm gonna go ahead and just disrupt the crap out of the coast here. And let's go ahead and get this resolved. So this is a Browning and a DE for demolitions. This guy alone has all that. He is doubled to a 6, but that's a 12, just those two units right there. And this unit is destroyed, but he's a red, so he stays in the game. Goes into the eliminated section. So we did get rid of the guy who just popped in. So that part's good. So now the question becomes, do I want to go after this disrupted unit with him? And the answer is I might. So I'm going to put a temporary action. I have this red unit I would really like to take out, but I only have a 2 strengther. And I'm thinking of moving something like this guy here so I can shoot from 2 away. And then of course I want to take this guy out, but I have an HQ here, so all these guys get actions. And he's a close combat, so it's going to be brutal, but I think we can do it. So I actually would have one more action left. I mean, this guy would like to do something, maybe get off the beach. Just trying to think. This is an inland, so I don't think I want to be confidently attacking with just a 2. This guy can support him, but then he can't participate in a close combat. This one can't support because this is 1, 2, 3. Actually, he can. He's 5 away, but he has a range of 7. And you know what? This tank has a range of 7, but I already used him, so I can't use him twice. Oh, I'm okay, because look, I got one here for a range of 7. Oh no, but he barraged the other way. Never mind. Yeah, so I can have a 2 and a 4 attack this. That's a little troublesome because this is going to get doubled. This could be a 6 or more. And if I'm too low, this guy gets a reserve marker or a depth marker. So I don't want to do that. Oh, that's right, this guy. That's my third action. He's going to shoot 3 spaces away and help him. And then this tank will also help him because he can't do anything to help with the close combat anyways. So let's do it. And of course it's a close combat with a 2. But I do double him, so we at least disrupted him. And that's fine. So now we're going to deal with this guy. He's going to get 2 cards. So 2 cards for him. Let me back up so you can see his 2 cards. And then we have 4, 5 pips. My HQ unit can't help because he's 2 spaces away. But we are going to get 5 cards for that. And I don't get anything else for tanks or heroes because my HQ is a hero, but he's not involved in the battle. So here we go. There's US, there's them. They are disrupted. So I'm removing the disrupted marker. Sorry for the bump. So then we go, and the color is purple. And of course we miss. He goes, and thankfully he misses. We go, and conscripts surrender, which he's not going to surrender. Well, actually, let me check again. It says if it's not an HQ and is in 111p, he's an HQ. So he's not surrendering. He's a punk that way. So what was it? This was us, them, and then us. So we just keep missing. So now they're going, and they hit with the purple. And I'm going to eliminate the tank, unfortunately. And then we're going to go with whatever we have left. And no purple. No purple. And finally, a purple. I was going to say, if he survived this, he's going to get really angry. Okay, so we got him. However, the purple is ripe for reinforcement, but that does give us 1 extra victory point, if you will. And the HQ unit does get to move things. So for example, this engineer can now move, and he will move right up in there to secure that. And this engineer is already securing something. That's a very intense zone, so we don't want to go there. But this guy can move. And can't quite get there. This would become a concentrated unit. But blue and purple can't fire on it, so he's okay. Unless, of course, somebody goes in there. This tank participated in a battle. This guy can't move. So I think I don't have a choice but to go. I mean, I can only move 2 spaces. And so this is probably the safest place to go, is there. And then as far as the HQ unit, I am going to creep. Do I want to go there or there? That's the question. I still have the issue of needing to move so many things, but I think I'm just going to stay right where I'm at with the HQ. Although I do get to become a command post soon. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to move this HQ unit 2 spaces to here for the command post. And let me look at my other HQ and do something similar. I need to really consider command posts now. And so this guy can't be in the zone of fire of anything, but I could like go there in the middle of nowhere. And yes, they could cause problems for me. Ooh, that's probably not a good idea. But I can go here pretty safely. They're too close together, though. That's the problem. If those are the only 2 HQs I'm going to get this game, they're too close together. So I think I want to get maybe that HQ here. So for now, I am going to just keep him here because he does control a lot of units, and leave it be. So one of them will become a command post. The other one is probably going to have to hold out for a bit. Okay, so I hope that made sense, and that brings us to the end of turn 10. And like I said, we have, oh, this was an action, so I'm moving that in. And then this action, this was an action too. I apologize, I didn't do all my actions. So this guy's gonna go ahead and attack, see what we got. And you need a flank. So I'm not gonna win the flank, but I did have the demolitions. And of course I doubled him, he's already disrupted, so he's gonna just remain disrupted. And if a hero were to help him, this headquarters would have to move 2 spaces over to be able to help. But if I had a hero, well, no, heroes can't do flanks, so never mind. Yeah, it's going to be what it is. Okay, so as far as victory points go, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then it's really hard to see with the stuff on top. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. I'm at 13. I only needed 10. And so I do get to continue with the battle. So for those of you that wanted to see the game last longer than just a basic game, I guess you're going to. In my honest expectations, I'm way exceeding them. I think I'm doing quite well. Well, not victory point wise, but I mean in terms of feeling like compared to Omaha Beach, I think you guys saw me do 3 playthroughs of that, and even by the end of the 3rd, I was still getting rules wrong. I might have missed a few, and I'm getting a few things wrong here, but I'm feeling so much better. But I think it's largely because Omaha Beach and this game do have a lot of overlapping rules, and once you get the hang of one, this other one is not as bad. This one, the concept of a position group, of course, has been killing me. And then just a few other things like, for example, the tanks don't get double benefits and stuff like that. Beyond that, I'm pretty happy with it. So we are at the end of turn 10, and we do get to move on to 11. And so I'm gonna do this, and it moves to 11. And then last but not least, this one is the only one that's hard-coded. You don't randomize this one. Japanese can now do infiltration. And infiltration, as far as I understand, is it's going to allow them to come in and start to make camp in areas that you're already cleared. So, yes, it's just Japanese doing what the Japanese did, which is annoying to board gamers and in real life, at least back then. So I don't think there's anything else we do. I'm going to check real quick. How do the rules change now that we're on turn 11? Okay, so let's just review this real quick together. Beginning with turn 11, the timescale shifts, but don't really care about that. You draw 2 event cards. Yep, got it. Number of U.S. units the Japanese position may hit when firing is increased by 1. Oh, that's right. So normally if you had a single infantry unit, he could only kill 1 U.S. Now he can kill 2. And then an infantry with a depth marker couldn't kill 2 U.S. units normally, but now they can kill 3. You always just add 1. We may move up to 3 hexes per turn. On land and in water, so that's helpful. We may eliminate a Japanese unit and its depth marker in a single U.S. attack. And of course that is only possible if we have the exact weapons and he has a depth marker and we have double strength. U.S. artillery units may conduct the barrage action. I guess I was not allowed to conduct the barrage action before. I didn't know that. I apologize if that's the case, because we did just conduct a barrage action with the artillery, although I think that missed. Yeah, it missed. Let me make sure. That was a rule I didn't think I misunderstood. So I'm seeing naval fire barrage, I'm seeing tank barrage. How come I'm not seeing artillery barrage? It's the most bizarre thing. Yeah, so I'm looking at conducting a barrage action, and it says a tank. You know, it's only talking about tanks. Then it goes down to naval barrage, and then it jumps into close combat. So where the heck is the artillery barrage? Must have been in the expanded rules, and I just... So my apologies. I guess you can't artillery barrage in these early turns. It's a little bizarre, unless it's somewhere else. Yeah, there it is. It's on page 27, and it's part of the extended game rules. An artillery may conduct a barrage action to a barrage Japanese occupied hex if it's in range but not adjacent. If the artillery is not in a hex field of fire of a non-disrupted Japanese unit. Is he in the field of fire? Ooh, yeah, he is, but he is disrupted. So, and it's got to be in the command of an HQ, which we knew. Then we get the barrage. But that is apparently, I did it one turn too early. And thank goodness I missed, because that doesn't change the outcome of the game. But just bear in mind, I guess, even if you get an artillery unit early, before turn 11, you can't use it to barrage until turn 11. I did not know that, so my apologies. Headquarters could be turned into command posts. And if you know Omaha Beach or watched my videos on that, you'll know that basically the idea is that your headquarters can no longer move. It has to stay put in a single spot. But then it has increasing range. So the number of units that get to move for free or do actions for free is going to go up because there's going to be an increased range. So it's pretty neat. Obviously, we want to make sure we position those correctly so we can cover this island. Engineer units with the SP keyword. So, for example, this engineering unit here has a flamethrower, and this engineering unit has a flamethrower, but I think this one has an SP. Yes, he does. So see that SP one? Basically, the support ones can be expended to establish a garrison, or they generate support markers, which are expended to establish a garrison, remove a disruption from a U.S. unit, which is really cool. So even if you get disrupted, you can just take it off. Or you can give a free action to a unit, or even provide a wild card to a unit in a U.S. attack. So those are all things that we can do now by having those engineers. And that's really cool. Most of these we don't need to go over in great detail, like 3 hex movement. You can see is just like 2 hex movement, but you have to stop when entering a hex of an intense field of fire of a non-disrupted unit. But remember, as long as he's disrupted, you can move right by him. Or a hex adjacent to a unit, period. You just can't move. Even if disrupted, if the guy if you're next to something. You can't move twice or 3 times next to someone. And in the engineer phase, this one is worth understanding. You get to take a support marker. Let me get this camera situated. Take a support marker for every eligible engineer with a support capability in a beach hex. So we may want to redo some turns here. And then what you do is those get placed in garrisons and eligible hexes or remove disruption markers, and then we can convert HQ. So here's what I mean by we may have to redo a few turns. You can see I spent time putting an engineer unit up here, and this engineer unit's back here, and this engineer unit's on a beach hex. So what I'm going to do is just switch the places. And I know some of you might be saying, hey, now that's not possible, whatever, but this is the thing. I didn't read the rules. So the SP units need to be at a beach hex. So if anything, what I can do instead of that, because that's a little radical, what I can do is just leave him here where he originally was, because he just moved 2 spaces up. So I'm just going to revert his turn. And that's fine. So these engineering units, though, and like this one here is on a beach hex. And do I have any more? I think I have another one. This guy here needs to get onto a beach hex. And obviously I didn't have the free actions to do that for him. But here's the deal. So now that they're on the beach hex, I have 1, 2, so I'm going to get 2 support markers. If I ever get this one to a beach hex, then I'll have 3. And that's the maximum you can get, by the way. So then you get 3 of these support markers. And then what you can do is you can say, okay, this is clear, so I'm going to put a garrison there. Or like over here, this is clear, so I'm going to put a garrison there. And you can do 3 of these per turn. Now, obviously, right now, I'm only going to get 2 because my 3rd one is not on a beach hex. But you get the idea. And these can also be used to, for example, if I had a disrupted unit out there, I could say I'm going to undisrupt him. Or I can say I'm going to give you a free action this turn. And so that would be what's considered US support, like that. So obviously in the beginning, I think you're going to understand that I'm going to spend a lot of them to put garrisons out. But once the garrisons fill up and you don't have room for more, you can really use these engineering units to make it so you get more actions and more candy. So anyways, all I did was revert my final move there. So instead of 13 victory points, I had 12, which is still more than enough. And if I was really smart, I would have figured out a way to get him to a beach. And then I would have had 11. And the best, most smartest thing to do is put an engineer unit here. Because look at that, you get to not only claim this space and control it, but then you're also, and it's funny because I do have an engineering unit there, but it's not the right one. I need a support one. So pretty cool. But as far as rules go, I think that covers what's changing. Now the command post things are the only thing that we still need to cover. And I think, the engineers, as far as like what kind of requirements do you need to meet in order to place a garrison, those are all things that we could probably go over as well. But that's the new things that are going to be in turn 11. We're not even halfway through this game. This game feels long, but to be quite honest, it's I think it's shorter than Omaha Beach. And the reason I say that is I'm only drawing, the LVT landing checks actually take a while. That's probably just as long or longer than trying to land at 2 different beaches in Omaha Beach. But the Japanese fire phase is just 1 card, whereas the German fire phase is 2 cards. And you always had that east versus west thing. and the 2 sectors, and that did add a lot, because even when you're doing your actions, you had 2 actions on the east and 2 actions on the west. Now I just have 3, period. The entire island. It does feel a little shorter, especially when you're not being a goof and trying to explain things to these people you've never met before who may not even be watching this video. Casualties. That's what my casualty pool looks like. All the green band ones I put back over here. So if there's a green band one that was killed, it's just back in my organized line. But there's my casualties. And then these are my LVT casualties here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then these are all the units that have been destroyed so far. I don't know if that's good or bad. I think that given the way this game has played so far, excuse me, this is probably pretty average. Maybe even above average in the earlier turns, but I sort of got lucky these last couple turns. One thing that's interesting about this is that when defenses fall and you finally break through and take some of these Japanese positions, the other ones tend to be easy to get. Not always easy, but like once we started to carve this little corner out, for example, here, and made a dent in this, then it got a little bit easier to branch out. And same here, the bird's beak was quite a challenge, but now that we have it, that red that's north of us is not that much of a threat. And I think we're gonna be able to get it as soon as I can stop, controlling the control parts. So it's an interesting game that way. That red one that's in the middle of the airport there is brutal. But yeah, so turn 11, there's no landings that needs to happen. I am quite tired. It's quite late. So I may call it and just do turn 11 tomorrow and just get this uploaded for you. Maybe we should do one more turn and then we'll quit on 12. How about that? So we'll do one more turn. Let's go. So turn 11, no landings. Let's draw an event. Orders received. Place all units scheduled for turn 17 in R2 beach approach hexes. Holy cow. In R2? This is a huge stack of units for turn 17, and we're going to do it on turn 11? Holy cow, what an event. All right, so I got a tank. There's a flamethrower guy. There's the support guy. So I'm putting the support one in that and there. Wow. So by turn 12, we're going to be moving these in. And these were intended to not come out until turn 17. Wow. We're going to have a lot of units on the beach. Okay, that was... I wonder how many of those are even in the deck. Did we just get like the jackpot of all things? I mean, I think the reason this is a big jackpot is I got it on turn 11, which is the first possible... I mean, if you got this on turn 16, I guess it's like a whoop-de-doo. But, oh my gosh. Okay, well... I'm not going to complain, so let's go to Japanese. So purple's up. It's a single purple. There is one here. And bear in mind it's an M, which means mortar. And so even though they're not next to us, they suck. So here's an occupied one with no US units in field of fire. So they're going to do mortar fire. So they hit US units with the symbol within 4 hexes. So the symbol is a circle. And here you can see 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2. So it's any of these 3 units with a circle. And there's one there. And there's one there. That's a 2 pip. This is a 3 pip. And unfortunately, we just got another casualty. And we're down to 2 pips with this hero. And that stinks. All right, so looking at more purple. Purple is actually not even occupied by Japanese anywhere else on the board. So, but here's what's crazy is there's a muster. So if you have an unoccupied, it's within 2 hexes of a unit, it musters. And sure enough, look at this purple one right here. So we're going to muster. It gets a reserve unit and a depth marker. So it's a ornery little Japanese. So they just mustered right there in the middle of us. No, they didn't. Here's why. Yes, they did. Here's why. I was originally thinking that we had communication cut off because this one has influence here and this one has influence there. But here's why not. This only controls his own spot, and this one only controls his own spot. You need to have a 2 pip or more guy to control all the area around you. So not quite as good. And now we got a punk right in the middle of everything. Okay, so next is a blue R, which is a reinforce. Now reinforce is they're going to place a reserve unit and a depth marker, like here, for example. They have communication, but there's no reserve units left. So we don't do anything there. And in 19.0 is when those dead guys come back. So let's take the time to make sure we're doing that right. This is the overnight turn, turn 16. Yeah, okay. So, sorry I was silent there for a while. But basically, all those dead units that you see are going to possibly come back. On turn 16, that little dark blue turn, that's the nighttime. So during the nighttime, those units that withdrew are going to get regrouped and then added to the reserve pool. So they could possibly come back and we're going to see them again. And I didn't read all the details because I'm tired and I just want to get done with the turn. But it was the gist of it was we're going to shuffle those up and only half of them are going to come back. The other half are going to be out of the game. So that is a one-time thing that happens on turn 16. So until then, we get the luxury of the reserve box is empty, so no new units are coming out. So this blue reinforce is not going to be as powerful as it could be for them. And I'm looking at, there's no blue boxes for them to attack. And then here we got a double green, which is also good for us. So they did hit us over there, but that was, and then they did a nice bang up job of sneaking in there. But beyond that, nothing happens to us. Okay, so now it's our turn, or no, it's a second event phase. Turn 11. Remove disruption from all Japanese units. Oh, you stink. So this one goes away. The good news is they're being removed after they've already gone. So I think that's what we got there. Now it's peanut butter attack time. And oh no, it's not peanut butter attack time. It's US Engineer and HQ phase. So I think what I want to do, first of all, I have 2 engineers that I know are on the beach. So we're going to get 2 support markers. I have a third that could have been on the beach, but isn't. And I'm going to call it, because I am tired and I need to read the command post rules. But I think it's as simple as that hero HQ unit there. If I want to make him a command post, I would just grab, see they have these command post tokens, right? So I just put this out there, and then the range marker that goes with it would just start here at range 1, which is just like a command HQ unit already. Then eventually it can have 5 range. So the reason I want some time is I may want to move this guy way up, because 5 range going south, or north in this case, takes me all the way out here. So I want my 5 range to really encompass the island. And here's why. How many HQ units do I have? I have 1, 2, 3. 2 of them are in the game right now, so there's only going to be a third one added. So I can't be just super enthusiastic about just diving in. Also, this guy's a hero, and he's given me wild cards and stuff like that. If I go switch him to a command post, he's no longer a hero. So I do have that consideration to think about as well. And they're really close to each other, so if I make them both command posts, it's too much. I mean, this one going 5 spaces that way is going to give me a nice part of the island. This one going 5 spaces this way. I mean, I'll basically have the whole center of the island in my grasp, but the what they call the bird head would be still open as an issue. And then of course the tail is an issue. But maybe that's not a bad deal. Maybe if I take the middle up like that and you know, hog it like Funky Town, I do control a lot of things and most of the airstrip if I pull that off. So maybe it's not a bad deal, but that's what I need to think about. Anyways, thank you for watching. Stay awesome. Sorry this was more of a rambling one and less play, but I am getting tired really quick. And so I just need to take a break. Anyways, thank you. Stay awesome, and we'll see you tomorrow.